Hey guys, thanks for checking out the latest edition of Conference Chatter TV, where 5 weeks are in the books, the non-conference schedule is over, and Big 12 play has finally begun. So it's officially time for me to step up my game because I will no longer be picking games with the Big 12 against Furman or Arkansas State or anything like that. So let's get underway here with the Big 12 conference season starting on Thursday with Nebraska at Missouri. It's going to be a great game at 8 p.m. in Columbia. Missouri has owned this rivalry lately. The Tigers winning 52-17 last year at Nebraska and then 41-6 in 2007. Missouri's won 4 of the past 6 meetings. I think this one will be a lot closer than 52-17 and 41-6. I'm going to go with Nebraska in this one. I think the Huskers are finally back. They're proven that they can play with some of the best teams in the nation. They went to Virginia Tech, should have won there. They just couldn't convert in the red zone. This will be a very hostile environment in Columbia. I think Nebraska's ready for it, and I think that if they can get pressure on Mizzou quarterback Blaine Gabbert, they have a great chance of winning this game. Gabbert, 11 TDs, no interceptions this year. He's been sacked only 4 times in 4 games. He's just been able to do what he wants. Missouri's done a great job of protecting him, but I love Nebraska's defensive line. One of the best in the conference, one of the best in the nation, led, of course, by Ndamukong Suh, Barry Turner, Pierre Allen. I really like Nebraska's defensive line. If they could just get some pressure on Gabbert, I think they have a pretty good chance of winning this game. I think one other thing that Nebraska has to do, convert scoring chances when you get in the red zone. That's one thing they did not do against Virginia Tech. Alex Henry, he's a great field goal kicker, but you don't want him on the field when, you're inside the 20s. He kicked 5 field goals against Virginia Tech. And anybody who saw that Virginia Tech-Nebraska game knows that the Huskers may not have dominated that game, but they should have won it. And I think if Nebraska gets inside the 20 against Missouri, they'll be able to convert some of those into touchdowns. It's not going to be all field goals this game. Missouri's got a nice defense, but it's not as good as Virginia Tech. We'll see what happens in this game, but I'm going to pick Nebraska to barely edge Missouri in a fascinating game, which I can't wait to watch on Thursday at 8 p.m. ESPN, going to be a great one. I'm going with Nebraska on Thursday. Rest of the games will take place on Saturday. Let's get right to them. Iowa State at Kansas at 11:30 a.m. at Memorial Stadium in Lawrence. KU favored by 20 in this game. I see them covering by that. Look, last year KU against Iowa State, all the Jayhawk fans remember it. KU down 20 at the half. They came back and won. This year, there's no room for looking over Iowa State. There's no way that I don't think KU will look over Iowa State in this game. It's the Big 12 home opener in Lawrence. They're not going to look past them. And I see KU easily handling this game by about 25 points. One thing to keep an eye on, Iowa State gives up 157 rushing yards per game. Could be a nice sign of things to come for Tobin Aporum and Jake Sharp. KU should be able to get the ground game going. Sharp should be able to play this weekend, so I look for him and Tobin Aporum to have big games, and of course that opens it up for Todd Reesing and company. Des Briscoe, Kerry Meyer. I think KU's offense is just going to be too much when all is said and done in that one. Next, Oklahoma State at Texas A&M, also an 11:30 a.m. early start. Cowboys, 7.5-point favorites in this game. A lot is unknown, though, about this game, particularly the injury situation with Oklahoma State, which has Des Bryant, Kendall Hunter, and Parrish Cox all day-to-day nursing injuries. I expect Parrish Cox to play. He'll probably get the start at cornerback, and he's probably going to return kicks as well. I think all 3 of them will end up playing in this game. It's a little bit of uncertainty there. But I'm going with Oklahoma State. They should win this game. Although they have not had the best of records against A&M. They're only 3-10 against A&M since the Big 12's inception. They're 1-5 in College Station. But, A&M did not look good last week. They really had a wake-up call against Arkansas in the Jerry Dome in Arlington. They did not look good. They looked great for the first 3 games of the season, but the competition was not that good. I've said it before in this video blog. that, A&M really wanted to prove themselves and didn't do a good job, quite frankly, against Arkansas. So Oklahoma State, I see them as a better team. I see them covering 7.5, and I see them winning in College Station. Next is Baylor at Oklahoma, 2:30 p.m. The story around this one is who will be playing quarterback for both teams. Will this be finally the return of Sam Bradford for OU? That's a possibility. Blake Szymanski for Baylor, will he start? Will he return from injury? Or will it be the freshman Nick Florence again? All unknowns here. With that said, OU's 25-point favorites. I could maybe see Baylor covering that. There's no way I'm picking against OU in this game, though. They're 18-0 all-time against Baylor. I don't think there's any way they lose at home. But will this be Bradford's return? Ryan Broyles is going to be out. We know that much. For Oklahoma, their star receiver. Bradford has been practicing. He hasn't really been hit yet, I don't think. But, if I'm Oklahoma, I'm looking at it, Texas is coming up the week after this, and this is going to be this would probably be, you want Bradford to play a little bit before Red River. So this would, at home against Baylor, this is a good time. If he can go, this is a good time, obviously, for him to come back. But I see Oklahoma taking care of business at home. Next, Kansas State at Texas Tech, 6 p.m. in Lubbock. It kind of seems like a theme here, but a lot of quarterbacks are questionable this week in the Big 12. Add Taylor Potts to that list for Texas Tech. He's questionable after sustaining a concussion last week against New Mexico. Tech coach Mike Leach kind of has a policy of not discussing injuries. He hasn't really said much about Taylor Potts this week, but if not, Steven Sheffield will start for Tech. He proved that, he can move the ball down the field for Tech. 3 touchdowns last week against New Mexico, so we'll see what happens there. The thing I want to keep an eye on here is the Texas Tech offensive line, because right guard Brandon Carter was recently reinstated to the Tech program. Leach kicked him off for last week, and they allowed 5 sacks to New Mexico, so he is back this week on the Red Raiders offensive line. Look, Carter hasn't allowed a sack dating back to last season, and so this guy's an integral part of their offensive line, instantly boosts their pass protection, so Tech has to feel good about that. I'm obviously taking Texas Tech at home. It would be foolish not to. Tech is 16-point favorites, and I can see them covering in this game against K-State. Finally, Colorado at Texas, 6:15 p.m. kickoff. There's not much to say about this other than the fact that the Longhorns are 32-point favorites, and I see them covering in this game. We're talking about the best team in the Big 12 against probably the worst team in the Big 12. At home, Texas had a bye week. They should be back. They should be ready for Big 12 play. The Longhorns should roll in this game. No problem at all in that one. So that's the final game this week. I have yet to have an undefeated week. But I feel it for this one. If Nebraska can get by Missouri, I'm pretty confident in the rest of these games. So I think that would enable me to have my first undefeated week all season in the Big 12 college football season. We'll see how it turns out. But thanks for checking out another edition of Conference Chatter TV. My name is Eric Sorrentino. I am signing off, and I'll talk to you guys again later this weekend. Thanks.